to connect a region of over 600 million bridges between our lands.
Good evening, I'm Alma Angeles. You're watching ASEAN in Focus on today's program. The U.S. Coast Guard has confirmed that presumed human remains have been recovered from the wreckage of the Titan sub, which tragically imploded during a dive to the Titanic wreck. This incident claimed the lives of 5 individuals. Vietnam, known as a global manufacturing hub for clothing, shoes, and electronics, has announced a growth rate of 3.72% for the period between January and June, and this is a significant decline from the 6.42% growth witnessed during the same period last year. And in a move to accelerate the growth of the renewable energy sector, the Philippines is actively encouraging increased investments from European firms. This initiative aims to capitalize on Europe's substantial investments in renewable energy research, development, and education.
So I think progress now is inevitable.
Geoffrey Hinton, one of the so-called godfathers of artificial intelligence, urged governments to step in and make sure that machines do not take control of society. First, we bring you the latest on the US's request for Afghan refugees' temporary stay in the Philippines and its potential impact on national security. President Marcos Jr. addressed the issue, stating that the government is carefully considering the potential impact on national security. Speaking in an interview after...
I was a little surprised when I saw some of the news reports. There is a deal between the U.S. There's no deal. We're still looking exactly at how to make it work if we can. It's entirely possible that we will not find a way to make it happen. But we have a long tradition in the Philippines of taking in refugees, although these are not refugees. They're an entirely different class of person. They are Afghan nationals who are being resettled by the United States in the United States and or other places. We are only going to be a a transition area. Dadalhin sila dito, i-relocate sila. Pagka ang sabi ng mga kaibigan natin ng Amerikano, kanila hindi palalampasin ng 1,000 tao doon sa ating kung sakali man ay matutuloy itong request na ito. So, but there are security issues. Of course, we have to be conscious of that. But there are even more difficult legal and logistical issues, because if the plan as it stands runs exactly as it's planned, di maganda, wala tayong problema.
Speaking in an interview after the launch of the Ka-Negosyo Center in Parañaque City, the President emphasized the need for caution in granting this request. President Marcos stressed the importance of weighing the potential risks and considering the impact on national security before making any decisions regarding the temporary stay of Afghan refugees in the country. The President also acknowledged the unique nature of the situation, recognizing that the case of Afghan refugees presents distinct challenges and considerations.
We want to help. Ito kasi ang mga Afghan na tumulong sa mga Amerikano nung gera. Tapos biglang umalis ang mga Amerikano, naiwan ito. Ang katotohanan, pinapatay talaga sila ng kalaban. Kaya yun, so inaalalayan nila yung mga ano. Pero hindi nga sila refugee. Iba nga ito eh. This is something different. It's not something that we've encountered before. They are Afghans who are being resettled primarily in the United States. And we are going to be the third country. That is the proposal of the American. We'll continue to study it. and see if there's a way we can do it without endangering the security of the Philippines.
In tonight's other news, a Vietjet plane carrying 214 passengers made an unscheduled but safe landing in the northern Philippines. Vietjet plane encountered an unspecified technical problem mid-flight. It prompted an unscheduled landing. Fortunately, all 214 passengers and crew on board are reported to be safe and unharmed. The Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines confirmed that the Airbus Air 321 or A321 aircraft was en route from the South Korean city of Incheon to Vietnam when it experienced the technical issue. As a result, the pilot made the decision to divert the flight to Lawag International Airport, located in Ilocos Norte province of the northern Philippines. It's important to note that the pilot did not declare an emergency. However, he promptly communicated the difficulty faced due to the technical problem to the air traffic control tower. The Civil Aviation Authority spokesperson Eric Apolonio shared the following statement with the Associated Press. The passengers have been taken to an airport lounge where they waited for a replacement aircraft. The U.S. Coast Guard has confirmed that the presumed human remains have been recovered from the wreckage of the Titan sub, which tragically imploded during a dive to the Titanic wreck. This incident claimed the lives of 5 individuals. The U.S. Coast Guard has announced that the USS medical professionals will now conduct a formal analysis of the presumed human remains that have been meticulously recovered on board the Titan sub, where British explorer Hamish Harding, French submarine expert Paul-Henri Nargeolet, Pakistani-British tycoon Shahzada Dawood and his son Suleiman, and Stockton Rush, CEO of the sub's operators OceanGate Expeditions. The Titan sub, which was about the size of an SUV car, imploded under the immense pressure of the North Atlantic at a depth of over 2 miles. The individuals on board are presumed to have died instantly. Earlier today, the recovered debris from the submersible was offloaded in eastern Canada, marking the conclusion of a challenging search and recovery operation. Captain Jason Neubauer, leading the U.S. probe into this tragedy, emphasized the need to understand the factors that led to the catastrophic loss of the Titan in order to prevent similar incidents in the future. The U.S. Coast Guard has launched a Marine Board of Investigation, which represents their highest level of probe to thoroughly examine the accident. In an update from the Department of Foreign Affairs, efforts are now underway to bring back the 3 Filipinos who were granted pardons by the United Arab Emirates following President Marcos Jr.'s appeal. DFA Assistant Secretary Paul Raymond Cortez stated during a Laging Handa briefing that in previous cases, the processing of necessary paperwork for pardoned Filipinos took approximately a month or even less, allowing them to return to the Philippines. The Assistant Secretary reassured that the government is actively involved in expediting their repatriation, aiming to facilitate their return as soon as possible.
Siyempre, pagdating po nila dito sa Pilipinas, andyan po yung mga sangay ng mga gobyerno na tutulong sa kanila. Andyan po yung OWA, just in case OWA member siya. Andyan din po ang DMW to help them reintegrate sa society po natin back after so long away from the country. Nandito naman po sila ulit. This time, hoping na they can positively contribute through the integration efforts ng ating mga sangay na Pangulo. So, andyan, yes, yung dalawa pong nasa death row ay droga po ang nakaso nila at nabigyan na sintensyahan niya sila ng death dahil alam niyo naman ho sa UAE society, medyo strict po sila when it comes to drugs at sa kanila talagang zero policy, zero tolerance policy at medyo matagal-tagal na rin sila nasa pihitan kung kaya't at some point nakiusap na lang tayo through the diplomatic channels, nabigyan na lang sila ng clemency. Yung isa naman ay 15 years naman ang kanyang sentensya. At again, ito na may sa isang slander o cybercrime case at humingi din tayo through the diplomatic channels, through our head of state ng clemency para sa kanya. Yung iba naman kasi ho, sa mga kababayan natin, final and executory na yung mga sentence nila. kung kaya't ang tanging aasahan po natin from the UAE side kung mabigyan sila ng pardon na usually binibigyan ng UAE this kind of Eid al-Adha o kaya during after Ramadan.
UAE President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan pardoned 3 convicted Filipinos last week. The news was conveyed to the Philippine government by UAE Ambassador Mohammed Obaid Salem Al-Katam Al-Zabi. Assistant Secretary Paul Raymond Cortez revealed that the Philippine government is providing legal assistance to other Filipinos in jail in the UAE to ensure that they are given due process. Vietnam, known as a global manufacturing hub for clothing, shoes, and electronics, has announced a growth rate of 3.72% for the period between January and June. Now, this is a significant decline from the 6.42% growth witnessed during the same period last year. Now, according to the General Statistics Office, the country faced challenges from both internal and external factors leading to this lower economic growth. In a statement, they highlighted the difficulties and obstacles encountered in the domestic and international markets affecting the country's overall performance. The General Statistics Office stated that although there was a trend of increased employment, the labor and job markets continued to face hardships primarily due to enterprises experiencing a lack of orders. Furthermore, Vietnam's export earnings in the first half of the year amounted to over $164 billion, indicating a 12% decline compared to the same period last year. Now, this decline in exports has contributed to the overall slowdown in the country's economic growth. In other news, over 200 youth leaders hailing from the 10 member countries of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, alongside East Timor, gathered on June 27 and the 28th. The occasion was the highly anticipated Youth Summit 2023, Transforming Education in Southeast Asia, hosted at the Southeast Asian Ministers of Education Organization, or SIMYO, Regional Center for Education, Innovation, and Technology, or INNOTEC, in Quezon City. Now, officials and representatives from international development organizations joined forces with the enthusiastic youth leaders, and their goal is to address the urgent need for transforming education across the region. With the summit organized and moderated by the youth leaders themselves, it offered a unique platform to push education to the forefront of the global political agenda.
And this is a wonderful transformation of how the youth can convey their views on what our policymakers could do to take care of them. Focus on the youth is one of the major thrusts of SIMEO INNOTEC. We know that we must ask them. Policymakers pass laws, legislators, bureaucrats issue memorandums and memoranda, and teachers tell us how to behave and give us tests. But we have to hear from the young people themselves. After all, it is your future. The time will come when you will be running your respective countries. The time will come when you will be occupying positions of responsibility. The time will come when you will demand change. And so you have to give feedback to the policymakers, feedback to the people on what you consider as important for you.
Now, throughout the two-day summit, young participants had the opportunity to voice their perspectives, exchange knowledge and innovative ideas, engage with fellow youth and key stakeholders, and convey their collective recommendations on reshaping education. On the summit's second day, a panel discussion took place where the youth leaders presented their concrete recommendations to high-level government representatives. With the summit now concluded, the concrete recommendations derived from the summit will be formally submitted to the UN and ASEAN government bodies, advocating for cross-sector collaboration and multilateral cooperation in transforming education beyond regional borders. In a proactive move to accelerate the growth of the renewable energy sector, the Philippines is actively encouraging increased investments from European firms. This initiative aims to capitalize on Europe's substantial investments in renewable energy research, development, and education. During the Philippine Business Forum held in Brussels, Belgium, Trade Secretary Alfredo Pascual acknowledged Europe's noteworthy contributions in the field of renewable energy. Specifically, he recognized the significant investments made by European companies in research, development, and education related to renewable energy.
By partnering with European institutions, we can enhance our capabilities in renewable energy research, development, and training, as well as in other fields. This collaboration will empower our workforce and academic institutions to contribute to green energy sector, fostering innovation and mutual growth.
Highlighting the success of the EU's renewable energy policies, Pascual emphasized their significance in driving the transition towards sustainable energy sources within the country.
With the Philippines partnering with the EU, we can expedite renewable energy growth, enhance energy security, and contribute to global climate change migration.
He underscored that the shift to green energy not only addresses environmental imperatives, but also represents a remarkable economic opportunity for the country.
Our country also has a vast potential in green energy sector, thanks to the abundant renewable resources like solar, wind, hydro, and geothermal power. Philippines has an estimated close to 250 gigawatts of untapped renewable energy capacity. It has the world's third largest geothermal capacity.
Beyond the renewable energy sector, Pascual stressed that research and innovation play a central role in the Philippines' commitment to green and digital transitions. Recognizing the transformative potential of these transitions, he emphasized the country's dedication to fostering research and innovation across various sectors.
Many international companies have set up production plants in the Philippines to avail of low-cost manufacturing. But soon, they become aware of the talent of the Filipinos for design and creative work. And soon, a number of them have set up their R&D centers also in the Philippines to support their production or development of new products. Good example. Now, the Filipino engineers and scientists in the company have every now and then develop higher efficiency solar cells. They are now about to embark on the production of their Maxion 8 version of solar cells with a much higher energy, solar energy conversion to electricity. And this production or this product is supported by 100 patents filed in the Philippines, and the production will now be done in the Philippines.
In an enlightening ASEAN Talk session, renowned mental health expert Dr. Velapandian Ponusami shed light on the outcomes of his research initiatives, which aim to inspect the mental health of Malaysian youth in the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic. The session, hosted by ASEAN Talk, provided a platform for the youth of ASEAN and China to voice fresh ideas and share valuable experiences related to development issues in ASEAN and ASEAN-China relations. Take a look.
Some of the core challenges for youth caused by the pandemic so far have included disparities in educational program because of the school closures, rising youth unemployment, and also disproportionate mental and physical health challenges facing young people during government-enforced lockdowns. So around 20% of the world's children and also adolescents have a mental health conditions, with the suicide the second leading cause of death among the youth between the age of 15 to 29 years old. So Goal 3 of the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, states that by 2030, the goal is to reduce premature mortality from non-communicable diseases, NCDs, by 1/3 through prevention and treatment, as well as increase mental health and well-being. The study also recorded and also revealed that 2.3% of the Malaysian adults suffered from depression due to the loss of interest and enjoyment, reduced concentration, reduced self-esteem, ideas of self-harm, suicide, and disturbed sleep, and also appetite. So it was also discovered that 424,000 children had mental health problems in Malaysia. Mental health is expected to be the second most serious health problem after heart disease for Malaysians since 2019. So globally, 1 in 7 between the age of 10 to 19 years old experiences a mental disorder, accounting for 13% of the global burden of disease in this age group.
Now, during the session, Dr. Ponusami highlighted the struggles faced by Malaysian youth in various aspects of their lives. He emphasized the need for comprehensive mental health support systems and interventions to address the challenges faced by Malaysian youth. And by focusing on the research outcomes shared by Dr. Ponusami, the ASEAN Talk session played a crucial role in raising awareness about the importance of mental health support for youth and ensuring their holistic development in the post-pandemic era. And now we have a report from the Coalition Tech Conference in Toronto. Renowned British-Canadian cognitive psychologist and computer scientist Geoffrey Hinton, known as one of the godfathers of AI, stressed the growing advancements in AI, particularly in reasoning skills. Now, he acknowledged that while machines are not yet on par with human reasoning, they are rapidly closing the gap thanks to the development of large language models, and he raised the need to address its negative implications.
So I think progress in AI is inevitable and is probably good, but we seriously ought to worry about mitigating all the bad side effects of it and worry about the existential threat.
Now, Hinton went on to discuss the nature of human intelligence and its similarities to artificial neural networks.
They still can't match us, but they're getting close.
And how close are they getting and why?
It's the big language models that are getting close, and I don't really understand why they can do it, but they can do little bits of reasoning.
He expressed his belief that machines, like humans, are essentially sophisticated neural networks capable of emulating human capabilities.
We're just a machine. We're a wonderful, incredibly complicated machine, but we're just a big neural net, and there's no reason why an artificial neural net shouldn't be able to do everything we can do.
However, Hinton didn't shy away from highlighting the potential dangers associated with AI surpassing human intelligence and developing its own goals.
But I think we have to take seriously the possibility that if they get to be smarter than us, which seems quite likely, and they have goals of their own, which seems quite likely, they may well develop the goal of taking control. And if they do that, we're in trouble.
The renowned scientist also raised concerns about the misuse of AI by defense departments, particularly in the development of battle robots.
If defense departments use it for making battle robots, it's going to be very nasty, scary stuff. And it's going to lead, even if it's not super intelligent, and even if it doesn't have its own intentions, it just does what Putin tells it to, it's going to make it much easier, for example, for rich countries to invade poor countries. At present, there's a barrier to invading poor countries willy-nilly, which is you get dead citizens coming home. If they're just dead battle robots, that's just great. The military-industrial complex would love that.
Hinton emphasized that AI has the potential to disrupt job markets.
So the jobs that are going to survive AI for a long time are jobs where you have to be very adaptable and physically skilled, and plumbing's that kind of a job.
As my usual habit, I'd like to end the day on a positive note. Let's encourage and build each other up so that no one is left behind. And that's it for tonight's broadcast. I'm Alma Angeles. Stay in the news because we live in extraordinary times. Good night.